I see that with clients and they'll say, I want to lose weight. But if you are not connected with your purpose and you're not 100% ready to make changes in your life and you don't have the consistency, you won't see the results.
Welcome to Detox with Dina and Friends. I'm your host, Dina Theodora, singer, songwriter, and actor. My aim for this podcast is to empower, motivate, and inspire you. Thank you to Vasanti Cosmetics for sponsoring this episode. Head over to vasanticosmetics.ca for luxury, high-performance cosmetics and skincare. Make sure to use promo code DINA10 for 10% off all online
Such a
products.
pleasure, Dilpreet.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to get started and to find out more about your background, everything that you do, how it all came about, and your story.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Yeah. So I've been in the fitness industry for over 10 years.
Amazing.
So that sounds like a really long time. Ever since I was a kid, I played sports, and my parents kind of just like pushed me into it, forced me into it. Especially my dad, he said, this is going to teach you leadership, team skills, and just trying to be healthy, of course, overall. And then in university, I ended up doing my kinesiology degree. Wow. Yeah, so I did my Bachelor of Arts in kinesiology first, and then I decided to go back and do my Bachelor of Science in exercise science. So then I did that. So I was in school for quite a while.
And you knew you wanted to get involved with something around those lines.
Yeah, I was never sure what I wanted to do while I was doing the degrees. And I ended up deciding to, venture on my own not too long ago and become a fitness coach and start my own business, Little Tank Fitness.
Ooh, I love the name. How did it come about?
Little Tank, one of my friends, Brian, back in the day when we used to work out, he started calling me Little Tank because I was lifting so heavy for, being petite. And then when I was making my Instagram, I thought, what name should I choose? And I chose Little Tank.
I love it.
Yeah. Aww. And the reason why I continue with Little Tank Fitness, it's because everyone has that strength within them. You may not be that big army tank, but you still are a little tank. Everyone has that strength. That's why I stuck with it. And I'm like, everyone's little tanks.
So you ended up finishing the kinesiology, and then you just said, okay, I'm going to venture out and do my own thing, which you had the entrepreneurial spirit in you.
Yeah, so originally, after I finished, I was still personal training at a gym. I was a waitress for 4 years, still trying to figure out what should I do with my life. And then I worked for another fitness company for some time, but my heart wasn't into it, and I knew I needed to pursue my own dreams. So I just took the leap and
love it. Sometimes you just know what you got to go forward. You got to make a decision, and you did it, girl. And here you are today, doing so well.
Thank you.
So now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of the questions and fitness and all that fun stuff that you have experienced in the past 10 years and more. How much exercise is really enough, to be at an optimal level?
The most important thing is to move every day.
Okay.
Like, even if you go for walks, you're gardening, as long as you're just not sitting on the couch or driving and at work, because it's a huge sedentary lifestyle in North America.
Very much.
At home, when you're watching TV, you're sitting, you're driving to work, you're sitting,
right?
You're driving back from work, you're at work, you're sitting. We spend a lot of our time sitting. So I tell, friends, family, clients, just move and do what you love, right? Again, like walking, yoga, sports, being in the gym, doing fitness classes. So as long as you're doing something every day.
And like you said, it's just the little things. Because I used to think, oh my God, I have to start doing like an hour of this and an hour of that. And it would just get so overwhelming. And then at that point, I was like, now with COVID being over, we're back at the gyms. At least, a lot of us can go back, and it's just great to be able to have that as an outlet and to have the equipment and that there. But if you can't, what are some things that you can even do from home? I mean, there's recommending from videos online to
tons of home workouts. I don't have specific recommendations. There's just so much out there on YouTube. It's actually amazing as to how we had to pivot during COVID to stay active. So personally for me, of course, it's not as motivating as if you were in a gym or in a fitness class, if you're used to that. But I do have lots of clients where they never worked out before.
Wow.
And they started at home, started to learn, and they gained confidence just by whether it was my programming or whether it was following YouTube videos. There's so much on YouTube. Follow along workouts.
Yes.
And I think it taught us that we can be active from anywhere. We don't need a gym to be healthy. You can literally go in your backyard. You can take the stairs. You can go outside for walks. You can watch YouTube videos.
I like how you mentioned that there's this sedentary type of culture here. You know, everyone is just so sitting and either driving or at their computer. And it's like, how did that, what happened? As human beings, we used to be so active
So
and
active.
on the go and in the fields and on the move. And I mean, a lot of us still connect with that, you know, sense of being out in nature and grounding and that sort of thing. Like when I was in Costa Rica, you are, depending on where you are, I guess, in the world, or maybe it's just in you that you just want to connect with nature and you go on hikes and you go on walks. But how do you recommend people really get motivated in this kind of culture, and also with the weather getting cold? What are your tips for that? And the fact that we deal, I mean, North America has one of the highest rates of mental health and depression, and people not really feeling like doing much.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just taking a small step and focusing on how you feel when you do those things. So how do you feel when you're outside and in nature? How do you feel when you're going for a walk? Walking is so underrated. So for me, that was the biggest thing for my mental health during COVID, was going for walks, even through winter. Bundle up. And, you know, ideally we're like, ooh, it's cold. I don't want to go outside. I'm like, just suck it up. Put on your parka. You will get warm once you start walking. Either put on a podcast, meditation, music, anything that you want to put on.
Yes.
That is going to be the part of your day that you look forward to, because it's your time. And again, oh my God, for mental health, cardiovascular health, walks are absolutely amazing.
Wow. And so do you have any specific things that you do every day to maintain that?
I wear my Fitbit.
Ooh.
So I set a goal for, minimum 10,000 steps, which I usually beat. So this has been a great tool, because I'll look at it. Sometimes I'll get competitive. I'm like, oh my God, right now I'm at 8,539 steps. You know, that's not enough.
Oh, wow.
I still got like 2,000 more. And then it'll remind me every hour to move. Yes. And this has been a game changer, because I also work from my laptop too.
Yes.
And before, I used to find I wouldn't move for hours because I'd be so focused on working.
Yep.
This will buzz. It'll remind me to even just walk to, whether it's grab some water, to the washroom, you know, just an excuse for you to even go outside. Yep. You can go for 15 minutes at a time. Okay. You get that fresh air, and it rejuvenates you for going back to work as well. It's
I love it. And in terms of like what kinds of exercises should we really be doing every day? I mean, you mentioned walking, but is there something specific that you recommend?
Weight training is important.
Weight training
for everyone. Resistance training. As you get older, it's very important to build that foundation now, because it's going to help with aging, you know? So if you have a strong foundation right now with muscle and strength and resistance training, you won't be relying on a cane. You know, you won't be at risk for like falls. Like the risk will be lower than the average risk, because you see with elderly, they'll fall easily because they don't have the core strength. They don't have like the, you know, the balance and the strength. So the most important thing is the quality of your life, right? We're not promised the years in our life, but if you get the exercise, is overall, you know, scientifically, it's proven. It is so good for not just your health, but for your mindset, also your mind, your mental health, physical health, just overall, like emotional, like everything. Ties in from movement and exercise, because you release the good feeling hormones, the endorphins. So if you are strong now, so picture yourself, and you know, when you're 70, 80, you won't be struggling as much. You won't be in as much pain as we see grandparents right now. They struggle. It's because they don't have that health. But and it's also never too late to start. Even if you're 60 something, you can start. You're going to increase the quality of your life from yesterday.
Wow. And so it's just like that. You just get up, you go, you walk, and you just keep it going.
And find something that you love.
That is important.
So with resistance training also, I want to say you don't have to do that every day. Let's say you start off with just 2 times a week. and then you move to 3. So I would say ideally at least 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, you want to get your resistance training.
And how many times would you do some cardio, walking, running, that kind of thing?
Walking, I would say every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
For at least how long does
just
it
at
count?
least getting your steps, right? So it's actually recommended it's a minimum of 10,000 steps a day decreases the risks of health conditions. That's a minimum.
Hold on a second. You just said a minimum of 10,000 steps decreases the risks
of health conditions.
So that means like, okay, so what does that equate to? 10,000 is like what? Half an hour, 2 hours?
I would say like a little bit over an hour.
Okay, so okay.
That's
so,
it's not a lot because I would say let's say you go for a walk right now and you hit an hour and a half. You should be able to hit your steps depending on how fast you're walking within, I would say, let's just say 90 minutes, right?
Okay.
So out of 24 hours in your day, if you spend about 90 minutes of just on your feet, that's not too bad.
90 minutes on my feet. Okay, good to know. Yeah,
and you don't have to do it at once.
Yeah.
You know, let's say you do a power walk 30 minutes in the morning.
Yep.
And then you do another power walk like 30 minutes later. Boom, done. Or if you're just walking around the house.
Yeah.
That's all. You don't even have to think about it at that point.
What are some foods that you would recommend? I mean, for your clients, for the groups that you work with, and that really help them up through their journey that you've seen to actually help you as well?
Just again, we always talk about whole foods, right?
Yeah.
As long as you focus on not eating like processed foods all day, that's gonna be your number one like supporter.
I heard someone say once, when you can't read the ingredients from your mother's garden, it's because there's a lot of stuff out there, unfortunately, that we depend on so many things to be packed and processed for us.
Yeah.
There are less processed things that you can eat. For example, the meats or the dairy section. Those, I would say, would you agree, are the more acidic?
Dairy, it depends on the person. So food intolerances play a huge role as well. As humans, we're not meant to digest cow's milk and dairy. Like we just don't have the proper digestive enzymes to break it down. That's why you see a lot of individuals are lactose intolerant, dairy intolerant. And then with meats, I always say grass-fed, organic, push for those, for your protein if you are a meat eater.
Yep.
Quality always matters. And again, for foods, if it has one ingredient in it, an apple is an apple.
Yes.
Raw almonds are just almonds.
Yes.
Broccoli is just broccoli. If there's one ingredient, then you're pretty safe. You're good to go.
Yeah.
And then if something doesn't feel well for you, that's another thing. Like the food sensitivities, note it down. Have a food diary. If broccoli doesn't sit well in your stomach and you get gassy or bloated, just note it down and maybe avoid that.
What about some advice you can give on how sleep ties into health and fitness?
Sleep is so important. Oh my goodness. When someone says team no sleep, I'm like, just want to shake them and tell them you should be team sleep, because sleep is where recovery happens for you.
Yes.
For mental recovery, for emotional, for physical, that is where you recover and you need to recharge. Otherwise, you will burn out. You're going to have health problems, weight loss too. It's hard for individuals to lose weight because they're not recovering and the body is just exhausted and you don't have enough energy to carry on with your day.
Any specific hours of sleep that you recommend or that you get?
There's so many different studies. Again, quality is very important. Let's say you sleep for 6 hours, but the quality is great. Then you're fine, and they always recommend up to like 8 hours. But if you're someone that works, strenuously, you work hard a lot, maybe even 9 hours is what you really need, because nonstop all day, you're just go, 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 go. But again, for the why I love the Fitbit, the Apple Watch, you can track the quality of your sleep. And then as you have an average for a month, you can see, okay, where do I sleep the best? Like, do I sleep the best at 6.5, 7.5, 7 hours? Personally, for me, if I oversleep, if I sleep at more than 8 hours, I get a headache. I feel drowsy. Like, it's too much for me. And for me, I've realized with my Fitbit, 6.5 hours of sleep works well, but my Fitbit won't count the first half an hour that it takes me to sleep. So ideally, I've been resting for 7. 7 hours. Yeah. It's really cool. That's why I love smartwatches, because before I was trying to figure out, where do I sleep well?
Yeah. We already mentioned how important exercise is. Could you kind of give me the science behind that?
So with exercise, you're releasing all the good feeling hormones.
Okay.
You know, you exercise, you exert energy, your brain is just releasing all the good feels. Think about it. You do a workout, maybe during the workout, you're like, oh my God, this is tough, especially if you're in a class. But after the workout, it's like a natural high.
Yeah.
It's a natural high. You feel really good. And they compare, like exercise is medicine. Basically, right? Okay. Medicine for the body, for the mind.
Yeah.
But I would never say that you don't need to take antidepressants, right? Mm. But they are very comparable. So for someone's like mental health, it's an escape, it's an outlet for you. And you know, it's important for humans to exert energy. It's crazy. You need energy, and then you got to exert the energy.
Right.
And it's like a cycle.
The yin and the yang.
And your body just thanks you for, you know, releasing all the built up energy, especially if you're someone that's hyper or ADHD. Yeah. You need to release that energy, or you need a change of environment from your job. So if you've been at work all day in a certain environment, when you leave, you might feel, oh, I'm too tired. You're not tired. You actually just need a change of environment. You've just been sitting at work for, 8 hours. You're not exhausted. Yeah. You actually need to go expend physical energy. Yeah.
Wow.
And scientifically, biologically, everything just like comes along, and
that's amazing.
And you feel great.
And then you do, and you definitely described that quite well. What would you say? So, in terms of losing weight, what are some of the reasons that kind of block women from losing weight, or specific people from losing the weight?
So there's a few things. Number one is not being connected with your purpose. Mm-hmm. That is huge. And I see that with clients, and they'll say, I want to lose weight. But if you are not connected with your purpose, and you're not 100% ready to make changes in your life, and you don't have the consistency, you won't see the results, And I think sometimes we need to have that like tough talk with ourselves. Like, did I actually give it my 100% this whole month?
Yes.
And then you start thinking, oh, I had a little bit of extra, peanut butter. I missed a few workouts.
Yeah.
I, didn't hit my macros a few times this week and this week.
Yeah.
Sometimes we really got to give ourselves like that pep talk. Like, okay, you have to put in the work, 100% consistency, and showing up for yourself every single day, committing to what you said, and just knowing why you're doing it. Yes. That's so important, because we can set goals. Oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. But why do you want to lose those 10 pounds? Because once you get there, you're going to feel lost.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I achieved this. Now what do I do with my life? Do I just stop exercising? No. You have to really think deep. Is it for confidence? Is it for health? You want to decrease, the risks of any health conditions that run in your family. You want to live long for your family, your kids. You just want to feel empowered and good about yourself. Exactly. So that's one thing. And then the physiological, like the physical side, it could be your hormones. So that's a huge thing. Is it your thyroid? Are your hormones out of balance? How's your liver functioning?
Yes.
How's your digestion? So that's why it's important to get a detailed blood work, not just regular blood work at the doctor. They will tell you you're normal, but whose normal is that? Because if you know that something's wrong, you're putting in all the work, you're exercising, you're eating, something is wrong, and it has to be like either the hormones, the liver, the digestion. Yeah. Get a full deep dive into it, or even like seeing a naturopath.
Yes.
And seeing what's going on.
For example, for many years, the tiredness was constantly there, and the fatigue, until I finally got a thorough blood test, and they found out that it was in fact thyroid. Yeah. So that in itself is just so empowering and enlightening to know the effects of, having a good blood work.
So important, and myself too. So the last few years, waves of energy for me. I'm like, why do I feel so tired? Like, I just don't understand. I'm exercising, I'm eating healthy, I'm drinking water, I'm doing everything. Go to the doctor, they would do the regular blood test. You're fine, you're just stressed out. And I would sit there, I'm like, I've gone for 3 regular blood works and you keep telling me that I'm stressed. I'm not stressed. Like something is wrong, you know, when you're in tune with your body.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Toronto, I just got a full panel. I paid almost $1,000 and I didn't care because I knew this was a huge investment. This doctor had great reviews. And he does, you know, Chinese medicinal, and he also does like regular medicine. Combines the two to see what's going on in your body. He wants to find the root cause.
Integrative medicine. I love it.
Finding the root
Which
cause of
would be
what's going
amazing
on.
if more doctors would take that approach, because not everything can be really cured or treated with one approach. You really have to have an integrated approach.
Yeah.
Because Western medicine has only been here for how long versus, you know, alternative, which has been here for how many years, right?
Yeah.
So with that said, so they did an intense,
and that's where I did my food sensitivity test. And oh my goodness, I realized, so food was affecting my energy, because you know when they say you are what you eat, your energy comes from your food. Absolutely. Like, oh my God. So I got my blood work taken from a Region Scientific. They took my blood work and they're connected with a lab in the States, US Biotech, I believe. Sent out my blood, and then they sent me the food sensitivity. So it's not an allergy report, it's a sensitivities report. But then I got to see the whole thing. I was like, holy smokes, I have so many sensitivities.
Did you realize that's what it was all along?
Bananas.
What?
Oatmeal, eggs.
Oh my God. Now you're getting
pineapple. You know, it was things that, like, I was eating so many eggs, lots of pineapple, oats, dairy. I didn't really eat dairy for the last like however many years, because I just picked up on my own. Gluten, wheat I already knew about, and I was, you know, skeptical. I'm like, I think I'm also sensitive to gluten.
So tell me, what were you?
Highly sensitive to gluten, highly sensitive to dairy, and all the ones that I listed, highly sensitive.
Wow.
Some vegetables too.
Does it also affect because of your blood type? I heard that your body is sensitive when you're a certain blood type. Like, for example, the O's are more into like the meat eaters, or the carnivores of the whole bunch, right? And so A is, I believe it's the vegetarians, and, you know, more fruits and veggies. But I know that with O, for example, I'm O positive, we're more sensitive to acidic foods. But it's interesting to get an actual food sensitivity test, which is not covered by OHIP. Or
no, none of that stuff is covered.
But if you want to go the extra mile and really look into your health on your own, in your own terms, and if you can afford it, it really, like you said, will make a difference.
So for me, I just if I found out that I could do this, I didn't know before that I could actually do this and pay for it. But like I say, we easily spend money on dinner. We go out to dinner multiple times.
Yes,
you know,
it adds up.
Sometimes you're going 1-2 times a week, and each time it's at least like $100, or like around like between 50.
So here we go. You know? People, invest in your health. Put the money aside from what you eat out, and do it in a food sensitivity, right?
We literally live once, and I'm not saying don't go out to eat, but come on, if we can spend that much money on eating out, we can definitely spend a little bit on our health. And if you at least have the tools once, you'll be able to navigate through like your own energies, your digestion, and figure out like what works best for me. And when I did the other tests, I found out that I have a mild gut yeast infection, which is why I'm having so many sensitivities.
The fatigue and lagging.
The fatigue.
Because you know what they say? We have this brain, and then we have the gut
brain.
Oh
my God, the gut is...
Right?
Think about it. Anytime you're bloated and off, how do you feel? We feel awful.
Sluggish. It's so true. Very important. Very, very, very good that we brought this up, because I think a lot of people really be able to kind of feel and understand what's going on maybe with their bodies. If you're having any kind of gut reaction or any kind of bloating,
once in a while bloating is okay, but not constant. And that's where I was like, okay, why do I keep getting bloated? Something is wrong. And then my energy would be affected. So then I took this into my own like hands.
You got to do it.
And I'm like, okay, I need to.
But our life is in our own hands, and our health most of the time is in our own hands. So the importance of it is that you took the bull by
You
the
just
horn
gotta
and
do
you just
it.
do
You just gotta do it.
Thank you to Vasanti Cosmetics for sponsoring this episode. Head over to vasanticosmetics.ca for luxury, high-performance cosmetics and skincare. Make sure to use promo code DINA10 for 10% off all online products. Thanks again for joining in. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Make sure to also find us on Instagram @DetoxWithDina and my personal page @Dina Theodora. Stay tuned and catch you next time.